When I first met Vansa, I wasn't thinking about love, luxury, or any kind of future. I was just a regular guy working a stable job in IT support, paying my rent on time, keeping my car running, and stacking whatever little savings I could manage each month. I didn't grow up with money. I knew the value of turning off the lights when leaving a room, of budgeting groceries, of making coffee at home instead of spending $5 every morning. But when Vansa walked into my life, she looked like the type of girl who didn't know what the word budget even meant. She was the kind of woman who made everything feel expensive just by being near it. Long brown hair that she liked to style at salons almost weekly, a thing for designer sneakers that cost more than my monthly utilities, and a taste for upscale rooftop bars where a single cocktail could knock your wallet unconscious. But the thing is, I didn't see any of that at first. I saw someone who laughed genuinely, who seemed to look at me like I mattered, like she appreciated the quiet kind of stability I offered. She would tell me, "I love how grounded you are, not like those flashy fake guys." And stupid me, I believed her. For the first few months, everything was great. We watched movies at home, cooked dinners together, and took small walks in the city. I thought I found someone real. But slowly, the mask started slipping. It began with small comments. "Why don't you ever take me to nice places? Your apartment is, cozy, but don't you ever want something bigger? You could afford more if you stopped being scared to spend." I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she had different tastes. Maybe she just grew up differently. I told myself relationships are about compromise. But compromising for her meant me spending more than I should. Taking her to restaurants far beyond my comfort zone, letting her browse stores, which always turned into, "Baby, can you buy this? Just this once." And whenever I hesitated, she'd pout, kiss me, and talk about how her friends' boyfriends treated them like queens. I didn't want to be cheap. I didn't want her to think I couldn't take care of her. So I pushed myself. I worked extra hours. I used my savings even when I knew I shouldn't. I paid for vacations, nails, shoes, little pick-me-ups because she always felt she deserved something special. And in my head, I told myself I was being a good boyfriend. But the night everything truly changed was when she came home from brunch with her friends, completely glowing like she had just seen heaven itself. She sat down, crossed her legs, and said, "Babe, I think I finally know the kind of lifestyle that feels right for me." I smiled, thinking maybe she had realized something meaningful. But instead, she said 6 words that would flip everything upside down. "I want a luxury lifestyle now." When she said, "I want a luxury lifestyle now," it wasn't a suggestion, it was an announcement, like she had already decided and I just had to fall in line. I asked her what that meant exactly, trying to stay calm, and she leaned forward like she was explaining something simple to a child. "Well, I've been thinking. I should be able to get my hair done at a real salon every week, and we should start traveling more, and maybe move to a better apartment, something with big windows and a gym, and maybe you could upgrade your wardrobe too, so you look like you match me." Match her. The word stung. I wasn't sloppy. I wasn't struggling. I was stable. But she didn't want stability. She wanted image. I asked her how she expected us to afford all that. She smiled and said, "You make enough. You just need to stop acting scared of spending." My jaw tightened because I knew exactly how much I made and exactly how much was left after bills, and the math simply didn't math. When I tried explaining that reality, she rolled her eyes and said, "God, you're so stuck in this poor mindset. Don't you want to be better?" That hit harder than I'll admit. Not because I believed her, but because she said it with disgust, like being financially responsible was something shameful. She started comparing us to her friends, how their boyfriends did everything for them. Funny thing was, those relationships were either on the verge of breakup or funded by credit cards and lies. But she didn't care. She wanted the image of being the girl who lives nice. She wanted to post rooftop dinners, spa days, handbags with brand names visible in every photo. It became all about Instagram. Not once did she care whether we were happy, just whether we looked happy. Then came the ultimate punch. One night, while we were arguing about the cost of plane tickets to Miami, she snapped and said, "If you can't give me the lifestyle I deserve, maybe you're not the man I thought you were." I swear, something inside me went cold. Not angry, just quiet. Because I finally saw it. She didn't love me. She loved what she thought I could provide. And when she realized I wasn't a bank account with legs, she started pushing harder. Manipulation, guilt, silent treatment. And then the worst part. She went to her friends and told them I was too cheap and unambitious. One of them even sent me screenshots. They laughed at me. Laughed at my job, laughed at my lifestyle, called me basic, called me starter boyfriend, like I was just a placeholder until she found a man with money. That night, staring at those messages, hearing her in the shower humming like she hadn't just disrespected everything I was, my heart didn't break. It shut off. Completely. And that was the moment I knew I was going to show her exactly what it meant to live on her own budget. I didn't yell. I didn't confront her. I didn't even mention the screenshots. I just started planning. Revenge doesn't need to be loud. It only needs to be precise. I began by giving her exactly what she claimed she wanted: space to live a luxury lifestyle. The next morning, I woke up early and acted completely normal, made coffee, kissed her forehead, played the role. I told her I was thinking about what she said, and maybe she was right. We should start living better. Her eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas morning. "See? I knew you'd understand," she said, like she had fixed me. I told her that if we were going to take that step, we needed to be more organized with money. So I suggested we start splitting expenses equally: rent, groceries, outings, everything. I framed it like we were building our dream life together. And she bought that lie instantly because she thought it made her look like a strong, independent queen. She agreed without hesitation. That was step one. Step two was quietly withdrawing my support. I canceled the pre-booked salon membership I had secretly been paying for. I stopped surprising her with gifts. I switched from Uber to driving myself. I began cooking at home instead of ordering food out, telling her we were saving up for our luxury future. Slowly, the world shifted. Suddenly, she was the one paying for her nails, her hair, her makeup, her brunches. She thought it would be easy, but luxury tastes expensive, especially when it comes out of your own wallet. And that's when the cracks started showing. She went from salon to cheaper salon, from brand name foundation to drugstore dupes, and she hated every second of it. But she couldn't admit it because her whole identity was built on the performance of being that girl. Then I took things one step further. I suggested we move into a new apartment, the exact upscale city view place she had been drooling over. I scheduled a tour. I walked her through the lobby, the polished floors, the fitness center, the rooftop lounge. She was speechless. She clung to my arm like she had just won life. The leasing agent listed the rent. It was nearly triple what we were currently paying. She didn't even blink. "We'll take it," she said. I smiled. And I said, "Perfect. They just need proof of your income too, since we're splitting everything now." The silence that followed was delicious. Her face dropped. She froze. She stuttered something about me handling it like I always do, and I just calmly said, "No, baby. Luxury lifestyle means equal partnership, remember?" The agent waited. She panicked and made up some excuse about needing to think. We walked out, and that was the first time she didn't speak on the car ride home. That silence tasted like victory, not because I wanted to destroy her, but because she was finally seeing the cost of her own expectations. And trust me, I wasn't done yet.
After the apartment incident, things didn't explode right away. They simmered. That's how real breakups happen. Quietly, slowly, like a candle burning down to the wick. She didn't argue, she didn't complain, she didn't even nag like she used to. Instead, she became tense. Every morning, she would check her bank balance before leaving the house. Every afternoon, she'd come home more drained than the day before. She had started picking up more shifts at the boutique she worked at, but selling overpriced dresses to wealthy women who looked down at her wasn't the dream lifestyle she had posted about on Instagram. Meanwhile, I stayed calm. I didn't rub anything in. I didn't remind her of what she said. I let reality do that for me. One day, she came home with her nails undone, a first. She sat on the couch and stared ahead like her whole world had been shaken. "I think I'm just stressed," she whispered. I nodded and told her, "Stress happens when you try to live above what you earn." She didn't say a word back, but I could see in her eyes she remembered calling me cheap, basic, and starter boyfriend. The guilt wasn't enough, though. Not yet. Because she still believed she could find someone richer. And I knew she'd try. So I made sure I was ready when it happened. A couple of days later, I noticed her texting more, turning her phone face down, leaving the room to call someone. I didn't chase, didn't accuse, didn't check messages. I didn't need to. I waited. And that Friday, when she said she was going out with friends, I simply tracked the location of the same rideshare account I paid for. Not spying, not controlling, just observing. She wasn't with friends. She was at a rooftop bar with some guy wearing a watch that cost more than my car. I didn't get angry. I didn't storm in. I screenshotted the location and dropped the rideshare from my payment methods. Then I drove home and packed her things. Not messily, not thrown, folded, neat, respectful. She walked in around midnight, perfume heavy, smile fake. When she saw the suitcases, her face drained. "What is this supposed to mean?" she snapped, like she still had leverage. I didn't yell. I didn't insult her. I simply handed her my phone and showed her the GPS log. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She tried to cry. She tried to blame stress, money, loneliness, anything that could make her look like a victim. But I just said quietly, "You wanted a luxury lifestyle. Now you can go live it on your own budget, without me." And I watched her expression shift from shock to fear, real fear, because she finally realized I was done. No begging, no second chance, no emotional safety net. Just reality. And reality is expensive.
She didn't leave that night. She stood there frozen, looking at the packed suitcases like they were a death sentence. "Where am I supposed to go?" she whispered, voice trembling in a way I had never heard before. And for a moment, I almost felt sorry. Almost. But then I remembered the laughter in those group chats, the screenshots where she called me practice boyfriend, the way she said I had a poor mindset. So I kept my voice steady and said, "You're an independent woman, right? You said you deserved more. Go get it." She tried to argue, tried to twist the narrative like she always did. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "I was just confused. I was stressed." I looked at her and asked one simple question. "Would you still be here if I suddenly lost everything?" And her silence was my answer. She finally picked up her bags and left. Not dramatically, just small, defeated steps out the door. I didn't block her. I didn't delete her. I didn't even unfollow her, because I knew the real revenge wasn't in the goodbye. It was in the aftermath. The world she built for herself was made of filters, captions, and brand tags, and without me quietly funding it from the background, she was about to learn what real life costs. The first sign came about 2 weeks later. She posted a selfie. Hair not freshly blown out, makeup not professionally done. The comments started. "You look tired. Are you okay?" Different vibe. Then she started selling her old handbags on her story, the ones I bought. She called it decluttering, but everyone could see it. She was scrambling. A month later, I saw her at a grocery store. Not Whole Foods like before, some discount market. She was wearing sweatpants, hair tied up, no designer purse in sight. She saw me, tried to smile, tried to start small talk. I kept it polite, nothing more. And that hurt her more than any insult could have. The guy from the rooftop? Gone. He wasn't interested in being her boyfriend. She was just a fun weekend accessory to him. Her friends? They drifted because she couldn't keep up the image anymore. Luxury girls don't stick around when you stop being beneficial to the aesthetic. Then came the message, a long one. Apologies, realizations, how she didn't appreciate what we had, how she now understood the value of stability, and how she had grown. She asked for one chance, just one. I typed my reply slowly, making sure every word was honest and clean. "You didn't love me. You loved what I could provide. I hope you learn to value real things one day, but you won't learn that with me." I hit send. No period, no accusation, just truth. And the typing bubble on her side appeared, then disappeared, and never returned. That was the moment she finally understood. A luxury lifestyle means nothing if the foundation is fake, and the foundation she burned was me.
Time passed. Not years, just enough for the dust to settle and reveal what was real and what was performance. I focused on my life, picked up extra certifications, got promoted, moved into a better apartment, but one comfortably within my means, not for show, just for peace. I upgraded my wardrobe too, but not with flashy designer brands. Quality pieces that lasted, ones that felt like me. I even joined a gym and started taking better care of myself, not because I wanted to prove anything to anyone, but because I had finally stopped pouring into someone who was draining me. Meanwhile, I watched from a distance as Vansa tried to rebuild her image from scraps. She kept posting inspirational quotes about self-growth and choosing yourself, as if she wasn't forced into that path by her own choices. But the mask never stays on forever. One night, I got a call from a mutual friend. He didn't mean to gossip, but he had no idea he was handing me the final confirmation of everything I already knew. Turns out, Vansa had moved in with a coworker temporarily, struggling to keep up with rent and bills on her own. She had taken on side gigs, even tried doing makeup services on weekends. But clients were inconsistent, and she hated the grind. The luxury lifestyle she had worshipped turned out to be a temple that demanded payment in pride, time, and exhaustion. And without someone funding it, she wasn't a participant. She was an outsider watching through glass. The friend told me she had broken down once and said, "I didn't know living was this expensive." And that line stuck with me, not because I enjoyed her pain, but because it proved the difference between us. I had learned to build. She had learned to pose. A few weeks later, I saw her again, in person. Not by chance. Fate isn't that poetic. I was at a cafe, working on my laptop, and she walked in with her coworker. She looked smaller. Not physically, but in presence. No loud energy, no spotlight aura, just human. She saw me and froze. Her coworker went to order, and she slowly approached. "You look good," she said softly. "Happy?" I nodded. "I am." She swallowed. I didn't realize what I had. I didn't understand what matters. There was no anger in her voice this time, no entitlement, just quiet regret. And for the first time, I didn't feel bitterness. I didn't feel triumph. I felt free, completely free. I told her, I hope you find what you're looking for, but it has to come from you, not from someone else's wallet. She nodded, tears forming, but she didn't cry. She walked away with dignity, which I respected. And as I watched her leave, I realized something important. Revenge isn't about making someone suffer. Real revenge is moving on so far, so cleanly, so successfully, that their absence feels like the best decision you ever made. She wanted a luxury lifestyle. And in the end, I got one, just not the type she meant. A life with peace, honesty, growth, and self-respect. And that is a luxury no one can buy.